Okay, so today we're going to talk about context clues.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of something called a context clue?
I feel like I've heard of it, but I'm not sure what it is.
Okay, so just as a reminder, they're basically pieces of information in your reading that make it easier for you to understand unknown words.
Okay.
So this big long paragraph, basically, to summarize, it's like a clue, as if you're a detective. They use that wording here. As if you're a detective and you're using the information in the sentences that you're reading
To figure out that word.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. To figure out that word. So that might be something that you've seen in like a standardized test. Do you remember doing any reading comprehension?
Well, they always have those questions like line, whatever, what does this word mean? And the best way to go about it is to kind of reread that paragraph or sentence and try to figure it out somehow.
Exactly. So you were using a context clue whenever you did that. You might not have known that's what it was called.
But yeah.
So today I just have a few different exercises. So first I'm going to do one, and then we'll do some together, and then you'll do one, a few on your own.
Cool.
So here's our first sentence. There were many diminutive items in the dollhouse, including tiny chairs, petite beds, and little pictures. So what I would do is say, I don't really know what diminutive means, and I have trouble saying it.
Right.
So what clues could I use in here? And I would look at it and say, like, well, dollhouse, there's a word there, but I don't really know if that helps me understand what that means. But here, these describing words that I see, like tiny, exactly, good, petite, and little, these all point to what that means. So I like to put the clues first. So I'd say, okay, here are the clues I found.
Tiny, petite, little.
And little. So I would surmise, I would guess that diminutive means small.
Right.
Now, you could pick any one of these words to say that this means that.
Right.
But what I like to do is come up with a word outside of the clues.
But that's obviously like really like a synonym.
Exactly, like a synonym. Synonym. It's a perfect word to use. So now let's do one together. So if you want to read the sentence out loud.
The list comprised of 7 rules. The list comprised of 7 rules, but talking while your mouth is open is not included.
So comprise. What are the clues that might lead us?
The list comprise of 7 rules, but talking while your mouth is open is not. So I guess list.
Okay.
And the 7 rules kind of just shows that. So, like, I mean, it says it, but like a list of rules, and then, but talking when your mouth is open is not included. That is one of the rules. Oh, that's not one of the rules. I guess list.
List, yep, that's a good one. And then I liked what you were saying about the end of the sentence. I think you didn't quite know where to go with it, but you're saying that this isn't one of the rules. So it's not included. So those are our 2 clues. Now, judging from these clues, how would you use those to decide what comprise means?
List included. Oh, it's is it like the list point or like title kind of like what the list is about?
What the list is about. Right. So that's exactly it. So to comprise means basically what, I like the way you phrase that, what something is about.
Right.
So where else could we use the word comprise?
The school is comprised of science. Does that make sense?
Sure. So the kind of another way to put this would be what something is made up of.
Okay.
So the grocery list comprised of apples, oranges, bananas, or the school comprised of lessons in science, math.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
What something is about is a good kind of everyday way to say what something is made up of.
Right,
That's
exactly.
kind of a weird way to say it.
I get you. Yeah, that makes sense.
So let's try the next one. Go ahead and read it.
The United States has gained great prosperity. However, she still needs to find solutions for many poor citizens. Gained kind of shows it's something that you can gain. However, she still needs to find. I mean, however is kind of a clue because it's like saying but, so it's like telling you this is the opposite.
Good, very creative. It shows the opposite. I like that.
She still needs to find solutions. Solutions.
And then for the last one, think about what you said here. You said opposite. How is the writer showing the opposite? However, she needs to find solutions for many
Poor citizens.
And what's the opposite of prosperity, basically? If you're saying it's the opposite, what could we say is the opposite of prosperity?
Poverty.
And how is she describing poverty?
Poor citizen.
Poor.
Right.
So poor would be your last clue.
Right.
So by showing the opposite, can you then tell us what prosperity means using that opposite clue?
I'm guessing it's gained. It means I don't know how to word it. Like financially, it's improved.
Sure. So getting better
Wealthy,
financially.
maybe.
Wealthy.
Right.
Perfect. So wealth, gaining wealth,
Right.
anything to do with improvement.
Financial improvement, something like that.
Yeah, I like that. Why don't you write financial improvement? I think that was a really good way to put it.
It's been so long since I even wrote anything.
Getting a cramp already, huh? Okay, number 4.
The lawyer had tangible evidence such as a hammer, a car, and keys to show that the person stole the car.
So our word is tangible.
Right.
So first let's look for clues.
The lawyer had tangible evidence such as a hammer, a car, and keys.
So let's take it all the way back and try to figure out what tangible is describing.
The evidence.
The evidence.
It's like an adjective.
Right. So what are some examples of evidence?
The hammer, car, and keys.
Right. So underline those. And then write them in the clues blank. And then based on those, what do you think tangible means?
Good, strong, valid. I'm trying to think of the good word. It's on the tip of my tongue.
So these are all nouns, right? These are all
Right.
items. They're things. They're
Right.
real things. So what's another way to describe that? Here they're saying it's tangible evidence. It's evidence that can be...
Seen or like a physical item?
Exactly, a physical item that can be seen or touched. So tangible typically refers to something that you can grasp or put your hands on. So the way you said it, something that can be touched is good.
Right, okay.
Or did you say physical? That's really good too.
I was thinking of it as like, if you have like tangible evidence, I mean, obviously I didn't know what the word meant before this, but like, if you said you had tangible evidence such as this, this, and this, and you're saying like, I have good evidence such as, but no, I obviously no.
But I think you're still right in thinking that initially, because if something is able to be seen and you can bring it to court with you, that's good, right?
Right, it's good
So
evidence.
you were right. Your instinct was right that it's something good.
Right.
Like, I have the goods to back up the fact that you were
Right.
here at the crime scene.
Yeah.
And it's just that, like, specific definition that you need to know.
Yeah.
But do you think you could figure out what tangible meant with just the idea you had in your head? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if that was your SAT word...
You're like on to something if you think.
Definitely. You'd be going in the right track.
Right.
So this just helps you find those more specific hints. Some of them, like tangible, if you already have a pretty good grasp, you can just go with what you know.
Right.
Don't bother looking any further if you can already figure it out.
Yeah.
That just makes more work.
Right.
This is if you have no idea.
Exactly.
At all.
That's his, okay, right.
Okay, so number 5.
After Julius Caesar was assassinated, a triumvirate ruled Rome. The 3 men in charge were Octavian, Mark Antony, and Marcus Lepidus. It was felt that this was best for Rome because the people did not want a dictator or emperor.
Okay, so our word is triumvirate, which you said very well your first time around. What are some hints here to have any idea what this would mean?
A triumvirate ruled Rome. Dictator, emperor. So, well, I mean, I don't know if this is a clue or not, but like, I guess it is. Like, this might not even be right, but like triumvirate, try, I know means three, and then on the next line they mention three men.
That is a perfect way to get a context clue. So you used what you knew as the root
Right.
as 3. So in that case, you might circle like up here. We kind of went with what the tangible evidence was referring to. Here you can circle, you know, that root word. It means 3.
Right.
And then it goes on to say...
The 3 men in charge were Octavian, Mark Antony, and Marcus Lepidus.
So those might be your hints, right? The 3 men in charge. So I would underline that.
And then also the root. Okay.
So based on those clues, what do you think a triumvirate is?
I guess it's something like when like 3 people rule.
When 3 people rule. That's all it is. It's a very fancy word for it, though, isn't it?
Right. It's not like an instrument or something.
And that's not really something that we're familiar with in our modern culture, right? We have either a dictator, which is one person in charge of everybody, or a democracy, which is one person still kind of in charge of everybody. How do you think it would work if we had 3 presidents?
It would be interesting.
We'll take Trump, Hillary, and Bernie and see how it goes.
I mean, everyone but Trump.
Okay, so now I'll have you do this one by yourself.
Okay.
And if you need help while you're going on, let me know.
Okay.
But basically, just go through and look for the clues for each word. So it'll be inundated, vivacious, and palpable.
Okay.
So the same process that you used for
All right,
these.
cool. I'm just like paraphrasing with the clues just so I don't have to write down the whole sentence.
That's a good tactic.
Seems an emotion. Okay, does it mean like busy?
Yes. So it means busy. And how did you figure that out? Talk me through your clues.
Well, I read it, and after the first sentence, hospitals can be inundated.
Inundated. Mm-hmm.
Inundated with emergencies on the weekends. Like I don't know, the first one that kind of popped in was hospitals can be busy with emergencies on the weekend, and then reading that after, just supported it with most serious injuries happen during that time, and then if you ever need to go to the emergency room on a Saturday night, you may want to plan on being there till Sunday morning.
So that told you that
like it's packed and that you're going to be there for a while. So it just kind of supported that idea of the word being busy.
Good. So how would you use inundated? Can you think of a time you might use that word? Maybe in your own life?
The Times Square was inundated with people on Friday night.
Perfect. And that's kind of a similar context, right? It's one place. It's very busy and very packed.
Right.
So it kind of describes a place or like an event more than like I was inundated by homework. I wouldn't use it that way.
Could you say like my suitcase was inundated with clothes?
And that's exactly what I mean. It refers more not to those specific things, more to general areas like hospitals, places.
Right. Exactly.
Your suitcase would just be packed or overflowing. I liked the example you used.
Okay, cool.
Okay, number 2. And that's vivacious.
Vivacious.
Nice. That's the first clue I spotted too.
I guess happy, cheery, upbeat, like good vibes type. I don't know.
Good, yeah, all of those. All of those.
Cheery, upbeat, happy.
So the first clue you found, tell me how that makes you feel like she might be a cheery, upbeat, happy person.
I mean, full of life. I mean, those are like the words I would use to describe, like I just picture somebody at a party just happy, saying hi to everyone, smiling, full of energy.
So if you're full of life, typically that's a positive thing, right? So that's how you knew, that was your first clue, okay, vivacious is a good thing.
Right.
You don't want somebody vivacious necessarily at a funeral, for example.
Exactly. Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, because you can be full of life and kind of be annoying or like obnoxious, but then when they say like party is a success with her attendance and first person on the list, then you realize, okay, that's a good trait.
It's a positive thing to be. Good. And the last one, palpable.
Okay, the fact that we have a campfire here last night was quite fun. Ashton. I don't know. Is it like obvious?
So let's look at the clue. So you found see ashes and smell the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So obvious is the first way you described it. If something is obvious, it kind of goes back to tangible.
Right.
So if something is palpable, it was obvious, and you can
interpret or
you can kind of feel that it happened, right?
Okay.
It's obvious because you can tell something happened here.
Mm-hmm.
How do these clues point you to that?
Well, it's saying that like if you can still see the ashes and smell the fire, then it's saying that like it's still there. Its presence is still there.
Good. The presence is still there. I think that's a perfect way to describe it.
Okay.
So what's a place you could use that in your life?
I have one. I don't know how to use it. Was palpable that we watched a movie in the living room last night.
Oh.
There was still popcorn and soda.
I love it.
And all the chairs are moving.
There you go, exactly. So if something, it kind of does go back to that tangible thing. It's like the evidence is still there. So the tension was palpable because his face was red and she looked upset.
Right.
Like you could feel it. It's obvious. That was another word you used.
Yeah.
That was really good. It's still there. So do you see how using context clues can lead you to understand?
Yeah, definitely.
Is this something you think you might be able to use?
Oh, yeah. On the SAT, they have like probably 10, 15 questions just about what does this word mean.
And what will happen there is that it'll often give you like a 2-paragraph passage and give you like 2 words from the passage. Right. What does this word mean? And it doesn't give you a clue except what you read.
You have to just go back and read. Yeah,
so if you don't know what the word is.
Yeah, that's the...
So I think we'll probably end up doing a little bit of this in the rest of your reading for the year. I'm not sure what Mr. Jim Bracco has planned for reading, but...
we're finishing ethical essays this week, and next week, I think next week, actually, on Monday, we start Othello.
Okay, so we might use a lot of this in Othello, because Shakespeare's vocabulary depends a lot on understanding... Well, it just depends on understanding what's happening, right? So there's words that you won't have heard before, if we can read the context, it might give us some
give you some
insight.
hints and some clues.
Okay, great job. Thank you so much for being willing to be videotaped, and I'll